Simcast is in chat. Well, there's a first. Simcast, I want a word with you. I would love to have Simcast on this show because she's the only one that sees things from both sides. And she doesn't really know me, and she makes assumptions about me. But really, I'm just a grandfather who's quite a nice man, to be honest. And I've moved on from the Watts case because, like I said, there's nothing more I can do with it.
Okay, thank you, AD. That was a very nice introduction. For people who are listening and watching, my podcast this evening, today, wherever you are in the world, it might be a different time. Grab a coffee, sit down, relax, and let's have a little discussion. Now, I know some people are going to say, "Oh, she's so full of herself. She thinks she's something great now that AD mentioned her on his channel." Well, that's not the case, actually. AD's mentioned me before. This is certainly not the first time. And I used to make videos of AD calling him out. I don't do that anymore, and I haven't done that for a long time. Occasionally, I will make a video about AD and about Frankie, but it's not about calling him out because that's not my job. That's for Frankie's lawyer to do. That's not my responsibility. So now when I make videos about AD, it's more relaxed, it's more tongue-in-cheek, it's more observatory or observing commentary and stuff like that. I'm not really interested in saying, AD, what you doing here, what you doing there, why are you doing this, why are you doing that? I'm not interested in it. There's lots of other channels that can do that. There are some channels doing that now. One channel in particular that I don't particularly have any how would I put it, that I don't particularly like, and like I said, I think it's Frankie's lawyer's job to get to AD and to sort AD out, and I haven't seen Frankie's lawyer do anything yet, not one thing. So anyway, one visitor to this channel, who is a supporter, a Rusek supporter, who's been coming to this channel for a long time and who disagrees with me about a lot of things that I say, but who is always very, very respectful to me. And usually I approve this person's comments, even though they're a Rusek supporter and we don't see eye to eye on a lot of things. This person is very, very respectful. So I'm always happy to talk to somebody who is respectful. Doesn't matter if their opinion is different to mine, as long as they are respectful about their own opinions and allow me to have my opinions. So this person said to me that AD wanted me to be on his show. And I thought maybe he was just joking. This person who comes to my channel who's an R supporter, I thought he was just joking. Or I thought he might be just joking. I didn't rule it out as a possibility because AD has mentioned me on his channel before. But I thought he might be just, pulling my leg. And I decided to go and have a look at, because I haven't been watching a lot of AD, to be honest with you. I just haven't. I've been more interested in Dave, actually, into what's been going on with Dave's channel. So I haven't been watching a lot of AD. So I decided to go and take a look at AD's channel, see what he's been saying, see where he said, I was trying to find where he claimed that he wanted me to be on his channel, and I couldn't find it. So after the fiasco, all the fiasco lately with this channel talking about AD and calling him certain names, which I won't repeat, I decided to go to AD's channel and get into the chat room, get into the live stream and say hello, just to see if it was really true that AD wanted me on his channel. And, he repeated what this guy told me, this Rusek supporter told me, that he wanted me to be on his channel. And I always said that I would never go on AD's channel, or that I would never be on AD's show. And that was a long time ago. Things have changed. I still take issue with a lot of AD's content, and I still disagree with much of what he does on his channel. However, in my dealings with him, and we've only, spoken by proxy, I guess it's kind of direct as well. I think he said something that he left some comments on my channel and then I removed them. I don't remember. You can correct me if I'm wrong, AD, but I don't remember you leaving any comments on my channel. I know that you come to my channel. I know that you watch. I know that you listen. But I don't recall you ever leaving any comments. And if you did, quite frankly, I don't think I would remove them, because you've never, and I will say this, regardless of what I think of the man, AD, he's never been anything but respectful to me in his approach, in his behavior, in his, communication with me. He's never been anything but respectful. And he could have taken the opposite route to that, because I've made in the past a lot of videos where I heavily criticize him. And he's never done that to me. He's never, ever reacted to that. So regardless of what I think about his content, and like I said, I don't support his content. However, I do respect the fact that he's always communicated with me respectfully. And he did lay out the Claire Morgan situation very, very well. And I was able to understand completely what she tried to do with regard to him. I can completely understand why it didn't work out, because AD explained it very thoroughly. Some people would say that AD and Dave are of the same ilk. I definitely do think that Dave was inspired by AD and kind of took his format, so to speak. But in actual fact, even though they're very much on the same trajectory with the Watts case, they're actually very, very opposite personalities. Because I've never seen AD say the things on his channel that I've seen Dave say on his channel. AD comes across as much more of a gentleman, and that's the truth. I'm not going to compare them too much, because I'm not into comparing them. And this is about AD. But, they're actually, they're of the same ilk in many ways, but they're actually different in how they present their content. But I think that a lot of what Dave uses is AD started. And I think a lot of what AD does has been taken up by Dave. Anyway, I've said this many times before. Do I think that Frankie and AD are ever going to meet in a courtroom? I don't envision it happening. I don't see it happening. And I'll be very surprised if that ever happens. Has AD gotten a tan? He does look darker than normal. I've often wondered if AD has some kind of Indian blood in him, Indian or Pakistani. He looks like he's been on holiday. I don't know much about his travels, because I don't follow him around, and I don't agree with people following him to his hotels, poker matches, holidays. I think that AD should be able, he's a grown man. He should be able to go wherever he wants without being followed. But he does look darker. I don't know if it's because he was sitting in a dark room where he made that live stream about how he was done with the Nicola case. He claims he's done with the Watts case. I don't think AD will ever be done with the Watts case. I think he will find, as long as there's air in his lungs, I think he will find some way or some avenue to talk about it. Even if he has to find an excuse to do so, I think he will. Because I think that's his real great passion. But, there is nothing to be done with the Nicola case anymore. The Nicola B case, it's done, it's over. I do agree with AD in one aspect of the Nicola case. There was no CCTV. So even though there has been a report on what actually happened, we don't actually have any footage of what actually happened. So there are still unanswered questions, and that will be the case about a lot of these cases, whether it's mystery or a case like the Watts or the Vallow case. We'll never know everything. Dave made a comment that our Mrs. Know-It-All. I've often said when it comes to the Watts case that I believe that Chris acted alone, and I believe that he planned it. I don't know how long for, but I believe that he planned it. I believe that Chris has a secretive mind. I think the mistake he made was thinking that he could outsmart people when really Chris was just a novice trying to be an apprentice. And I'm going to read something here. So before I read this, I just wanted to say I've been talking to somebody who's very intelligent, who thinks that Chris took his family to the oil site to stage a scene. I don't believe that at all. And neither do I necessarily believe in any one of his tall tales, his narratives. Anything that he said, I believe he did it. I believe he acted alone. But what sequence in which he did it and what he might have left out or embellished, I don't know, because at the end of the day, he's changed his story several times. But this person that I've been having, dialogue with, engaging with, really is a very intelligent person, writes very well. This is a very articulate writer. Really believes that Chris took his family to the oil site to stage a scene. And I just don't believe that, this person thinks that Chris Watts is rather intelligent and was some kind of mastermind. I think that Chris is the complete opposite of any kind of mastermind. And this is what I wrote in response. I agree that he likely plotted and planned this, but he's no mastermind. He's more like a novice trying to be an apprentice. I think the way he carried this out shows extreme levels of immaturity, lack of ingenuity, and acumen. First of all, a smart person wouldn't have agreed to a polygraph. That may be Chris's biggest mistake. He also seemed to have a lack of awareness where Nate's camera was concerned. The first story that he fed to his very gullible father was another mistake. I've seen mastery in this field. Chris doesn't display any masterful characteristics. I think the reason he put his family at the oil site was simply because he was familiar with the place. The other thing I want to say is that AD mentioned something about me seeing things from both sides. I'm not quite sure what he means by that, but I will hazard a guess. I think he thinks that, or I think he means that I'm very balanced in my opinion, and I don't, I'm not on the Watts side or on the Shiner side. There's some people who put the Watts on a pedestal, and give them a lot of praise and stuff like that. I don't. And there's some people who put the Ruseks on a pedestal and give them a lot of praise, and I don't. I don't think either family is, should be elevated to sainthood at all. And that's why I stand in the middle. I've seen things on both sides that I question, that I query, that I raise my eyebrows at. So that's the reason why, just because I can critique the Watts, but I can also critique the Ruseks, and I've done both. So I think when people come here and they listen to some of my podcasts that I've made in the past, they think that I'm very one-sided, but I'm actually not. I can critique both sides. I don't put anyone or any side, whether it be the Ruseks or the Watts, I don't put them on any elevated platform or status. I don't elevate either side. I see the good and the not so good in both sides, so I can be objective. I think if you idealize the Watts family, you won't be able to look at this objectively, because you're more likely to want to agree that Chris was not as involved as he really is. And I think if you look at it from the other side, you just see you won't want to look deeper at the type of marriage that Chris and Shanann had. It wasn't as perfect as it looked. It wasn't as perfect and as shiny as it looked on the surface. So that's why I've managed to keep myself in the middle. And like I said, I want to grow my channel organically. I'm not interested in being a superstar at all. I just want to tell my truth. And yes, it's nice to get some money as well. However, I'm more interested in, years later, when we look back at this, I'm more interested in having credibility and not running with an idea because it's exciting, because that's just not how I look at cases. Anyway, I'm going to leave it here today, and I might talk about this at another time. I might, do some further conversations on this very topic and this very theme. But for now, adios, and take care of yourselves, and thank you for listening, and thank you for watching.